All right, all right. Well, welcome to the webinar, everyone. My name is Dr. Kirk Fisnick, and I'll be hosting the call alone tonight. I'm going solo. Katie wasn't able to make it. She had done some other things to attend to. And so I just want to first share this, that, anything that we talk about on this call tonight or any of the other previous calls that we talked about, we don't make any medical claims. We don't talk about disease. We don't talk about curing or treating or anything like that. So I'm just going to say that the FDA here in the United States and the FTC have basically come up with some new rules, and I don't understand them all yet. So I'm going to be a little bit careful on what I say tonight because, it's important that we're careful on what we say, so that we don't get ourselves in any trouble and we don't get the company in any trouble when we're talking about products. We don't want to imply, I guess they're using the word imply a lot, that we don't want to imply that our products can somehow treat any kind of a disease or anything like that. We don't want to make any claims that might make people think that we're making medical claims. So I just want to throw that out there before we ever start the call, so that where I'm coming from tonight. So what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to give you the information pretty much off of the Sisel website, and that way I know that I'm at least as compliant as corporate is, and that's what we're going to have to do until we know further notice. We were going to do some testimonials, but again, with testimonials, some people could take a testimonials, meaning that we're saying that we somehow can do this or do that. Well, so we have to be careful on that as well. So I'm not going to give any testimonials per se. I might throw in a little bit about what I've noticed myself as far as like with taking the AGE pill. But again, for those of you that have jumped on late, the FDA and the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, and the Federal Drug Administration, they've come up with some new rules as far as what we're allowed to say, concerning nutrition and things like that. And so I started working in my clinic about 25 years ago on anti-aging. I had this passion for anti-aging, and so I started learning about it on my own. I was just talking to someone the other day that I didn't know. She was aware of me, but I didn't know her, and she said, well, where did you get your training? Where did you go for your training? Did you go down to the Philippines or something like that? And I had my dogs bothering me. Sorry. So I told her, I said, actually, no. When I first decided to get into this whole thing, I decided to hire a couple of medical doctors to work for me. I thought, they can do their anti-aging medicine. At that time, a lot of the things that the procedures were medical procedures, and like intravenous and things like that. And so I hired some medical staff to work for me, and then I moved from there. I hired a nursing staff. By the time I was all said and done, we had about 25 employees, I guess, running around in the clinic. Huge staff, huge payroll, lots of overhead. And the problem with it is that these doctors, they could do the things, they could do the procedures, but the problem with it was they really didn't have a good understanding of alternative medicine. They would do it, but they would do it as basically like they were doing traditional medicine. So instead of giving you a drug, they would give you a natural product, but they would treat it like a drug. And it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. You can't just say, okay, I'm going to go off of this drug and I'm going to now take this supplement. It doesn't work that way because drugs trick your body into doing something that it wouldn't normally do. That's how they work. That's why a drug you can take it right now. I could take certain medications right now, and in seconds I could be feeling an effect. Well, except for maybe you take a niacin, a vitamin B3 product, and you notice some flushing. For the most part, vitamins take time. Nutritional products take time. Changes in your life, changing in your lifestyle, changes in your diet, they take time. I always tell people, I say, for every year that you've had a problem, you can kind of expect that the therapeutic treatment for that problem is going to be about a month. And then that's just to get the changes. And then you're going to need that I don't want to call it maintenance, but you're going to need that period of time afterwards to get your body to adjust. So you get the changes, and then you have the adjustments time, and then you move into more of a maintenance. And so it takes time. When I take the AGE pill, I didn't expect to see results right away. I was pretty much amazed when I started to see results. Like I said, I can't make any claims, but I started to see changes right away when I started taking it. And I didn't know really what to expect. I don't think, well, nobody really did, because it was a new product. It was a new product on the market. But we could read the research and things like that, which, there we go. When we're talking about the AGE pill, I can't make any claims, so I can't even read you the research on the call tonight. I can't quote any research because that's implying that our product somehow was involved in the research. And this is the new rules by the FDA. So I'm stating that. So in case you're going, why are the calls a little bit different? Why is the webinar a little bit different? Why is the information a little bit different? Because the rules have changed how we have to do this. And, so I can tell you, if you go on PubMed and you look up some of the research, you can find a lot of research on there on the different ingredients, on the functions and things like that. But so getting back to my story, I hired these medical doctors thinking that, I was going to get into alternative medicine. And I had a huge staff, had a huge payroll, lots of overhead. And they didn't really understand the whole concept. They didn't understand that I could give you something like this and get better results than if I gave you a drug. Well, I mean, I don't know if I can say that, but I just did. So you heard me say it. But so they didn't really understand that concept. And so I decided, while they were working for me, I was going to figure out how to do what they did through alternative means. So we did something called intravenous chelation therapy. And chelation therapy, we used a man-made protein called EDTA. And EDTA has some great studies on it. It's considered a pharmaceutical, and it pulls out heavy metals. It does some detox. It does some chelation therapy, and really, really good results. And so I went looking for how do I do that naturally, and so I found some things that we could use naturally. It wasn't as fast. Again, drugs work quickly. It wasn't as fast. I would say, based on the science that I read, it was about 70% slower than the drug therapy, but it worked anyhow. So I was studying all this, and I was working with people and getting some pretty good results with the things that I was doing. And I happened to be traveling through Omaha on my way to a seminar in St. Louis. And in St. Louis, then I was going to be a speaker at a conference there. And I stopped in Omaha and visited a friend of mine, and he introduced me to this product, right? This product right here. And I listened to, probably about 3 hours of Tom Maurer Sr., who, for those of you that are new to Sisel, Tom Maurer Sr. was the founder, just a brilliant mind. And he had put together this TSX. And, you know, I can't talk about the science behind it because then I'm making claims, but go look it up. And I had already studied it. I had already known all about the ingredients, but what I found is that Tom had put together a product, because the way that he formulated it, it's a lot more powerful than the other product that was on the market. And and I can't say how much more powerful, because then again, I'm making claims that way. But I'll just say, if you go look at the ingredients and you compare them side by side, you'll notice that there's a huge difference in what we have. And that's what got me to take a look at Sisel. And Tom Sr. and I really we really got along good. It was like we were having these Vulcan mind hold type of moments, where we were thinking the same things about the same time. And so as I'm working with Tom, one day, well, back up. I started reading about nicotinamide riboside and alpha lipoic acid, and the results that they were having. Studies that were done University of Iowa, studies that were done at Harvard, studies that were done at other major universities and medical schools, and they were talking about the results that they were getting with this nicotinamide riboside and this alpha lipoic acid. And so I'm reading about that, and I thought, that's pretty amazing. Sounds like something that I want to start taking. So I went online and I started buying the ingredients, and I started buying the ingredients, and I took a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and I started seeing some results with it. One day, Tom and I are talking. He said, you wouldn't believe what I'm putting together. And I said, does it have nicotinamide riboside in it? And there was a long pause. There was kind of crickets in the background, and he said, how'd you know that? And I said, I bet it has alpha lipoic acid in it as well. And he said, did someone leak some information to you? I said, no. I said, I'm already taking it. And he was kind of taken by that, and he said, well, where did you find out about it? I just told him, I said, we read the same things. I read a lot of the same research. Anyhow, he said, well, how much of this are you taking? How much of that are you taking? And I told him, and he said, well, you're not taking enough of this, you're not taking enough of that. Take more of this, take this, and so that's what I started doing. And lo and behold, then when the AGE pill came out, I was already taking the formulation. I was spending a lot more on it. I mean, trust me, if you buy the parts individually, and you get quality, you don't just buy, crappy products that say that they are what you think they are, but they're not. You spend a lot of money buying the good quality stuff, and that's what I like about Sisel, is that we use the higher quality ingredients. Anyhow, so I started taking the AGE pill. I hate this how this computer does that. It unfocuses things, but I started taking that, and the results that I'd already been getting from taking what I was taking for the last 6 months exploded. I mean, it got that much better. And I'm just gonna tell you, you don't see me wearing reading glasses. I can read my little phone, and I don't need reading glasses. I can go to the restaurant, and I don't need reading glasses to read the menu. And pretty amazing, you know, and I can't say it was from the product, you know, because that's making a claim. But you know, a few other things, and just you know, like I used to, end of the day, I'd unload my pocket, and I had a pocket full of Post-it notes from about the time that I used to have a really good memory. Like when I went to engineering college, there was a lot of classes that I took that I didn't even buy the book. I went through the second year of physics, didn't even buy the book, and passed. And a lot of times I didn't even go to class. Don't tell my mom that, but I didn't even go to class. I just showed up and took the test, and I'd pass them. And I had good memory and good thinking ability, and that people could tell me their phone number, and I would remember it. I'd run into them a year later, and I could pop up their phone number, you know, because I remembered it. And but when I got to be around 50, that all changed. All of a sudden, I've got a pocket full of Post-it notes all the time, little pieces of paper that I jot notes on, and well, my pockets are empty today. Again, I'm not going to make any claim, but my pockets are empty today, and I don't have to do that anymore. Pretty cool. And you know, so for whatever happened to me in the last 5 or 6 years, it's made a huge difference. I don't even know where my reading glasses are. I think I threw them away, but because I did have some for about 5 years, I wore reading glasses. Like, you know, like if I had to read this little phone thing, I'd be wearing my reading glasses. If I was reading a newspaper, I'd have to be wearing my reading glasses. And of the day, my eyes would be so fatigued, I'd have to be wearing reading glasses. I don't need that anymore. So, you know, that's what kind of got me into anti-aging, and it leads us up to where we are, what we want to talk about tonight, which is the age pill. And so, what is the age pill? Well, the age pill is a formulation, and I can tell you off the bottle here. It's got a beta aniline, it's got D-ribose, it's got alpha lipoic acid. I talked about alpha lipoic acid. It's got rosemary leaf extract. You know, I was out elk hunting out in Utah, and staying at Tom's son's cabin, and me and Tom were talking, and he said there's some things in rosemary and sage and that can actually boost the effect of the age pill, and I said, wow, that's pretty cool. So I had to look that up. It's got L-carnitine, it's got betaine hydrochloric acid, it's got you know, tryptophan, and so we talk about the formulation with nicotinamide riboside, and there's a lot of research that's being done on nicotinamide riboside, and the problem with it is that the researcher who's doing the research on it thinks that he owns nicotinamide riboside, because he's doing a lot of the research on it, so therefore he thinks that he owns it. It's a God-given vitamin, nicotinamide riboside. Your body makes it. So instead of going through a lot of hassles and things like that, what we did is, I say we, not me, Tom formulated a way of actually getting your body so it actually makes the nicotinamide riboside. Think about it. Ribose, R-I-B-O-S-E, ribose. It's in the H pill, right? Riboside, right? You notice that the two words are real similar, and so combining the ribose and nicotinamide, right? Nicotinamide, niacin, right? Vitamin B3. So you put those into the formulation, and when it goes into your body, it comes together and it makes the molecule. So we've got a couple other things in there, but so what's the function? And again, I'm just quoting you what's on the Sisel website, is that your body, when you're born, you have lots and lots of stem cells, and stem cells they differentiate into different things. So you have, some stem cells that they come out and they turn into a finger. They have some stem cells that come out and turn into a nose, some that turn into a stomach, and different things like that. But there's also stem cells that are there for repair. Like I cut myself. Can you see that on my hand there? I gashed myself pretty good. This is a week later. This cut used to be that long, and it was a half-inch wide, and I didn't get any stitches for it. I just put some of the silver product, the Sisel Silver, on there, and that keeps it from getting infected. There's lots of studies on that. I can say that because there's lots of studies on it. It's been used for thousands of years that way. But that kept me from getting infected in that. But then what repairs that? What repairs that? I mean, if I take a rock and I throw it at the glass in my window, the window's going to break. It might crack. It might shatter, right? It doesn't repair itself. I can put all sorts of things into that glass and it's not going to repair itself. But look at my hand. When this is all said and done, you won't even be able to tell. Maybe there might be a little scar in case things didn't line up properly. But most cuts and scrapes and things like that, it heals up without any scarring at all. Your body is just so amazing that it'll rebuild itself. It'll rebuild itself. Your car won't do that. Your TV won't do that. My window won't do that. My computer won't do that, right? Nothing else will do that like your human body. And that's where the stem cells come in, because the stem cells, there's lots of these stem cells that are sitting there kind of just in waiting. They're just waiting. They're waiting for your body to say, hey, cut his hand again, better get over there, repair that. And so these stem cells then run to the area, and what they do is they fix it, combined with osteoclasts and different things like that. You have different cells that remove the old dead material and replace with good healthy material, but the stem cells repair that. So aging is when your stem cells, your body can't keep up to the damage, the decay, the deterioration. As things wear out, these stem cells just don't keep up anymore. And part of the problem is that we've used up a lot of our stem cells. When you were young, you used up a lot of stem cells. When you get to be 50, 60 years old, they say that you're down to less than half, about 40% of the stem cells that you started with when you were younger, when you were 20. When you get to be 80, I think I've read that you're down to about 10 to 20% of your stem cells. So think about it. When you get to be 80, you have lots and lots of chances of illness and things like that. So we try and protect our older people from getting injured or getting exposed to any kind of problems, because of the fact that as they get older, they're not going to heal up as quickly because they don't have the numbers of stem cells that their body needs to do that. But what if we could take and I'm not saying we can do this because then I'm making a claim, but what if, I'm just posing a question, it's a question for you. What if we could take and we could get your body to make an abundance of stem cells so that at the age of, say, 50 or 60, you had the same number of stem cells that you had, say, when you're 25 or 30? That's just a question. I'm not making a claim. I'm just saying, what if we could do that? Interesting. Think about that. All right. So pretty interesting. And then you combine it with other things, the fact that when you eat carbohydrates, they turn into sugar, right? And carbohydrates and sugar, what they do is they make a byproduct that's called glycated end products. And glycated end products, what they are is they're like, now the easiest way for me to describe it is that when you bake a loaf of bread, how come the inside is white and the outside is brown. Why is the inside white and the outside brown? Who has an answer for that? Well, what happens is that it's the sugar molecules coming to the outside, and they brown like that. That's called, in your body, that's called glycation. That's really probably one of the best ways of describing it. But I mean, because think about it, the outside of the bread has the exact same ingredients as the inside of the bread. Why did it turn brown and why did the inside stay white? They're both cooked. I mean, obviously you're not eating raw bread dough, right? But in your body, so that's not good, because it creates kind of a sludge in your system, and it slows everything down. So you have to work harder. It'd be like me going outside today and going for a walk. We've got a couple inches of snow on the ground again. Yeah, our weather changed. We've got snow and almost May, and I'm gonna walk slower through mud and snow than I would say if it's the middle of the summer and it's a warm day and the ground is dry, right? Well, your cells have a harder time working, doing what they're supposed to do, because of the fact that there's this sludge made up of these glycated end products. But not only that, it's not just sugar that causes the damage, but it's also fat. When you eat food that's got fat in it, what happens is there's a byproduct called lipofuscin. Lipo, like think of liposuction, right? Lipofuscin, it's from fat. And so this causes another type of a sludge to build up. Well, the AGE pill has some ingredients in it that will reduce both the glycated end products, and they'll reduce the lipofuscin. And I can say that because it's on the Sisel website. But the other thing is that we've got ingredients in there like 5-hydroxytryptophan, which is, you've heard of tryptophan. It's what your body needs to make serotonin. At Thanksgiving time, we eat a bunch of turkey. We get really tired because serotonin kind of puts you to sleep from the tryptophan, right? Because it relaxes you so much. But in the right doses combined with other things, it actually helps your body make hydrogen. It kind of works with that whole Krebs cycle, if you remember from your high school biology, the Krebs cycle. But ATP and ADP, and you remember all those terms and all that, and the circles and all of that. But anyhow, so we've got those ingredients. Again, I can say that because it's on the Sisel website, so I'm not making any claims that they aren't making, and we might see that change. But anyhow, so removes the sludge and increases the hydrogen, which increases the energy. It works with, with other things. Again, I can't say that it's going to make the stem cells go backward, but what if there was some way of doing that? Ask that question. You can ask yourself that question, and so really now at 61, I just turned 61 a week ago. At 61, can my body, again, that's a question, can my body repair itself like it did when I was 30 or 40 years old? I'm telling you, this thing healed up in a week. You should have seen that cut. My cousin saw it, and his wife, who works at the hospital, and she said, "Oh my God, you should get in and get that stitched up." And I'm like, nah. So I just put some silver on it, took my products, and boom, it's all healed up. Never got an infection, never even had an inkling of an infection in it. Again, I can't make any claims on what did that. I'm just saying, for some reason, my body did that. But so the results of that, when you start thinking about everything that I'm talking about, isn't it going to be a good thing? Isn't it going to be a good thing? And wouldn't you like to have that for yourself? Wouldn't you like to have that for your family? Wouldn't you like to have that for all of your friends? I mean, because here's the deal. I've treated a lot of older people. I actually went out of my way to try and recruit older people as my patients, because I like treating them. I like sitting there and having conversations with them, and I would ask them. I'd say, what's the most stressful thing about getting old, and most of them would tell me that all of their friends died. And so here they were, like the one guy, he was 98 years old, and he said every single one of his friends had passed away like 30 years before that. And I thought, yeah, who would want to be in their 90s and not have anybody around that grew up with the same sorts of things in the same generation? And so I try and share this information with everybody that I meet. Some people don't want to hear it, whatever. That's the attitude you got to have. But pick those people that you think you'd like to spend a long time with, 30 years from now. Who would you like to be around? And share this information with them, and just tell them, just say, hey, what if this thing really worked? What if it did? What if you combined it with, a couple other things like Stemolytics and resveratrol and TSX, and you got the body to do what it's supposed to do. Genetically speaking, if you take a look, they've done some studies, and they've actually shown that genetically, if we lived an optimal life based on our genetics, the human body was actually designed to live to be about 145 years old. So when we look at the average, well, not the average, yeah, when we look at the longevity, they say a man right now is 78.5 years or something like that, but it went down in the last couple of years. But so we're only living 50% of our potential. What if we could increase that? These are some interesting questions that you got to start asking yourself if you're really into it. If you're not into it, if you just want to live for today, hey, you can do that too. But what if you really want to figure out how you can kind of improve things and make it so that you can have more optimum health? You start finding nutrition products that work, and again, don't make any claims, because you can't do that, and don't tell any stories about what it did for you, because that's against the law. But just see what it could do. What could it hurt? I mean, that's the whole thing. What could it hurt? Ask yourself, what if it doesn't work? Are you out anything? It's not going to hurt you. And you can make those changes. So that's what I do every day, and I talk to different people about that, and I have a lot of friends that ask me, what can we do for this? What can we do for that? Because I like to read. There was a study that came out this morning, and I'm going to find out some more information on it. And I sent it over to Tom Jr. and over to Lisa, and I said, hey, take a look at this. This might be what we're looking for. But it's a test that measures a blood test that measures your biological age, and they base it on, guess what? They base it on the number of glycated end products. They actually base it on glycation. Interesting, right? So if reducing glycation doesn't improve your longevity, then the question would have to be, why do they have a blood test that's based on measuring glycated end products, and they tell you your biological age compared to your chronological age? So they're telling you your biological age compared to your calendar age. Again, interesting question. So I'm going to find out more information on that. I'm probably going to have the test run on myself. And hey, maybe I'm not really 61. I look like it though. I got this white beard. I don't know. And I've tried to color it, but you can't color white. So everyone, thanks for joining us tonight. If you're on Facebook watching, thanks for being here. If you're on the video with us tonight on Zoom, thanks for being here. If you're watching this video down the road, thanks for taking the time to watch it. Get back to the person that brought you here, and let them know that either you're interested, or you're not interested. Either way, because if you tell them you're not interested, they're not going to bother you about it. So I always appreciate when people tell me either way. That way I don't bug them, because if they don't tell me, then I go, well, they haven't given me an answer. Maybe they need more information. So have a great night. Enjoy your weekend. Bye-bye.